the first stop to many women seeking guidance, written questions about access, misinformation, trust in our health systems, and so on. So, I urge you all to listen and of course join us on YouTube at WFM 917 and of course on Facebook at WFM 917. So, we have Omolola with us in the studio. Hi, Omolola, how are you today?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm very well, thank you.
All right, I tell people sorry now because I mean,
Okay,
many things that you had to go through to be
of
here
course,
today.
of course. Sincere apologies to everyone. We're sorry for keeping you waiting. This, forgive me.
All right, so let's just head on straight and get some of the major information that we need to get from you as the author of this particular report that you
Mm,
have sent us here. Now, clicks before clinics sheds light on how women increasingly depend on social media
social
for
media.
sexual and reproductive health information. Now, what actually pushed you to look into this trend, to investigate this trend, and what are some of the findings that you got from this report?
Okay, thank you very much again, and thank you to Women Radio for the opportunity, of course. So, before now, I have realized that a lot of people tend to shy away from conversations around sexual education, and most of the times, the people who are victims of this are women, young women. But very recently, I came across a post made by NAFDAC on social media, particularly on Twitter, where I saw NAFDAC debunking the claim that a particular emergency contraceptive pill,
Mm,
Postinor, was trending and it was fake. So I went through the comment section of that particular post and I realized that majority of the women in that comment section never knew that that particular Postinor was
mm,
fake. I also saw people going through the ones they have at home, taking pictures, and they say, "Oh, the one in my house is fake. I took the fake one." And
mm,
so at that point, I realized that we have made a mistake with the gap in correct education and information that is accessible
mm.
to women. So, as a women's rights advocate and somebody who also works as a fact checker, I then decided to look into how both situations can be put together.
Mm.
Misinformation, particularly how it affects women. So this particular story is just focused on women's access to sexual education and the risk of misinformation involved.
Okay. Thank you very much for that because I mean it could be a lot, especially
Mhm.
when you want to look at the risk involved.
Exactly.
Let's look at why do you think many women are choosing to, do the click over
Over clinics.
visiting traditional clinics when it
Right.
comes to sensitive health issues as
Mm,
like this?
yes. You would agree with me that we are in a society that sees sexual education as something that is sacred, something that is supposed to be discussed in whispers,
Hmm.
hush hush sounds. We do not even call reproductive organs their actual names in
Names.
public.
Hmm.
So that's the kind of society we are. So if we're in that kind of place, it is very much expected that discussions around sex and sexual education would also come with some kind of stigmatization,
Hmm.
especially when we have people who would easily criticize you for talking about these things, forgetting that it's actually our reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we tend to put them behind us, forget that they are our reality, and then put on a whole new personality, and we are forgetting whom we actually are.
Hmm.
So a lot of women want to avoid that. A lot of women want to stay away from stigma. They want to stay away from being
Yeah.
called spoilt, being
Especially
called
young
ras,
ladies.
especially young ladies.
Hmm.
I mean, imagine a 15-year-old girl
Hmm.
wanting to know about contraceptives.
Yeah.
She would be shut up. Like, come on, face your book. Don't you have other things to
Hmm.
do?
Yeah.
But she needs that information to
To
make
know.
the correct decisions.
Hmm.
So a lot of women will then go to social media when your mother is not watching what you read, your father is not trying to restrict the
Mm-hmm.
information you consume, and then there is nobody who wants to condemn you. I mean, it's what you are reading
Mm-hmm.
or a video you are viewing, so
Yeah.
nobody knows what it's actually about. So I think the fact that it appears like a safe space
Hmm.
for women to get information, then they would turn to it.
Hmm. Okay. and not just even for health issues, even outside health
Mm-hmm.
issues. It just feels like, oh, there are a million and one people who are going through the same thing I'm going, and it's like there's always community for
Of
everything.
course,
So you
there's a
feel
community. You feel relaxed to want to look
yes.
into that place.
All right, now let's look at some of the dangers that you probably uncovered while going through these investigations.
Mm.
Um, how how did this come to you? Because I'm sure that while doing investigations, you were uncovering a lot of things, and even for
Mm.
some, you say, "Wow."
Wow.
Yeah. So there's
Wow.
that wow factor. So some of the dangers that you uncovered while going through with this of a lot of misinformation out
Mm.
there, online sources of reproductive health guidance. Tell us about some of the dangers that you were
Yes.
able to uncover.
Yes. So I discovered that there is a total reliance on
Hmm.
social media. You know, while it's not a bad thing to seek for information on social media,
Hmm.
it is extremely harmful to then depend on social media
Yeah.
for information. So if the information available on social media are used as a form of support
Hmm.
to the one you have, is different from when that is the only source of information or the only source of education
Yeah.
that you have. So one of the dangers I discovered is that it puts young women at risk,
Hmm.
particularly about their sexual and reproductive
Yeah.
health.
Yeah.
So one of the people who spoke to me under anonymity, of course,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I was saying earlier, stigma,
Yeah.
right? Nobody wants anyone to know that they are talking about
Mm-hmm.
something like this. So one of the people I spoke to talked to me about how um, she had an unusual vaginal discharge, and then she went on social media, read a lot of things, and then she thought he must have kidney
Ah,
issues.
Dr. Google.
I mean, that's how they say don't Google your
I'm
symptoms.
telling you.
So she felt like, oh, I must have kidney
Kidney
issues.
symptoms,
She
yeah.
still did not talk to anyone about it. I mean, imagine believing that you have kidney issues
And
and you
still not
still are not
talking to
able to talk to
hospital.
anyone
Yeah.
about it. So what she did do, she just decided to start taking the agbo that her father takes.
Ew.
And then, the father said, oh, this agbo flushes the system.
Mm,
You know, those herbal mixtures that would
yeah.
cure chronic ulcer,
Everything.
cure kidney disease,
Everything.
cure everything. Then she started taking them until it then began to react in her
Mm,
body. And then he went from a mere unusual vaginal discharge to an assumed kidney issue and then to a more problematic situation for her. You know, when you do not know the cause of your headache, you would you would assume the worst,
mhm.
and then your wife will say that if you you are so you want to use medicine made for headache to
Mm,
cure diarrhea. Another person I spoke to was experiencing bloating
mm,
as a result of PCOS,
okay.
but this person did not know it was PCOS she had.
Mm,
So she just felt like her tummy was unusually big, and she was desperate for a flat tummy.
mm.
Yeah, so she went on social media, saw a lot of people on TikTok advertising numerous things that
Ew.
would flatten your tummy in
Ah,
3 days.
ah, three. Oh,
Yeah.
that's the worst. That's the
There
worst.
are a lot of stuff like
Yes.
that. So she bought it. I mean, this person is not a health practitioner. The person is not a gynecologist,
As well.
not a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
just a random person selling something on TikTok. And then she bought it and began to take it. Then she she said she started going to the toilet like almost every day. She started having diarrhea. She started taking more serious mixtures and all that are not regulated or even approved to
Yeah.
be safe for use.
Okay. Now, just as we wrap up this conversation, Omolola. So, if you're just tuning to Women Radio, this is your Women Radio, the voice of women, and today we have Omolola Pedro with us. She's a journalist and fact checker. And of course, she came up with this investigative report of clicks before clinic. You can go to our website, www.wfm917.com, to have a full read of this and also share, because this will definitely benefit you. If not you, maybe your daughter, or that woman that you just have around you. And please continue to share this, because it's definitely one that you would want to know more about. I mean, the dangers of it and how we can be better, as regards to maybe heading to the clinic first before clicking
For
and leave
clicking,
Dr. Google aside. Because even the one where you don't get Dr. Google tell you say you get
you
some.
get
And the thing with that is that it's not because the Dr. Google itself is not doesn't even know what you're feeling. It's just based on
mm-hmm,
what you write. So
mm,
it will take everything. So if
that
they say headache, if you're feeling headache, they might tell you, oh, it's a symptom for kidney, it's a
mm-hmm.
symptom for this. And sometimes you have the same symptoms for a lot
For
of
a lot
things.
of
So you
illnesses.
just you just
Yes, yes.
anyway. But let's head back to some of the steps that you think healthcare providers,
Mm,
policymakers, media organizations, what do you think we can do to bridge this gap to
yes.
ensure women get accurate, accessible, and trustworthy reproductive health information?
Yes. So first of all, I think that we should begin from the foundation, from when that young woman was a child. A lot of us, as young girls growing up, we did not have access to sex education, no matter how little. The only form of sex education I remember having was the one where my home economics teacher told me that if a man touches me, I'm going to get pregnant.
Yes, so once you start
That's
your period like this,
you are
Shikina,
yes, that's
all
it.
they talk about puberty in schools, and that's
Exactly,
it.
that's it. That's the only form of information we
Hmm.
had. Some of us, our parents did not even know when we began our menstruation. We didn't have accurate information as to how menstruation happens,
Mm-hmm.
how ovulation works, what happens when and
Hmm.
where. We had no idea. So I think we should begin from the homes. Parents should stop acting as if sex education is not a part of a person's life,
Hmm.
because when you do not provide them accurate and healthy and safe information, people would learn it outside in the most inaccurate and unhealthy way. Because the way you are able to sieve the kind of information we have, when we
Hmm.
talk about sex education, we also have a lot of age appropriate sex education. The sex education you would give a 5-year old is different from
It's
the one you
different,
would
yeah.
give a 10-year old, a 15-year old, or a 20-year old person.
Hmm.
So if you do not begin from when they are small, you don't expect them to automatically know it.
Yeah.
And if they know it, they are not going to know it in the safest way
Mm-hmm.
that they should know it. I also realized that a lot of our parents prefer to teach abstinence rather than safe sex.
Exactly.
I mean, you're telling a 20 that stay away from men, stay away from
Mm.
boys, stay away from this and that. And we are in a generation where rebellion is the
They
order
want to
of
try
the
everything.
day.
Yeah.
So it's either you are acting in a way that brings friendship between both of you as a parent and a child, or you're acting in a way that you become sworn enemies and you don't even want to hear anything you have to say. So when we are trying to provide education, we should also ensure that it is safe education and accurate. A lot of parents don't even have accurate
Accurate information
education
themselves. Let alone
themselves.
to pass
How
it
much
down.
more pass it down
Yeah.
to their child? So
Sure.
parents themselves need to work on their own education
Mm.
before passing it down to the child. And we should stop teaching young children, particularly girls, because of the kind of society we have. We should stop teaching young girls fear. We should stop using fear as a means of education, because instead of letting them know the dangers involved, we are even making them feel scared already.
Mm.
So it does not work that way. Also, schools, I think we need to reintroduce sex education into our curriculum. We
Yeah.
don't talk about it in schools. In schools, also, it's either we are talking about it on the surface, maybe it came up in home economics or
Mm.
biology
Your
class.
biology, yeah.
So it's not like we are intentional
Mm-hmm.
about teaching them. Content creators are also doing something, and there are a couple of them I spoke to for my story.
Okay.
Certified sex educators, gynecologists who are
Mm.
taking to social media to provide them accurate information. Unfortunately, correct information don't get to trend like the one that is false. So we also need to make extra effort at ensuring that the right information
It's out
is
there.
taking the forefront rather
Mm.
than the ones available to us. And we should stop acting like this is something that should not be mentioned. Don't talk about it. Don't say it. You are raz, you are spoiled. They tell your money you let out baje. But that's not the
That's
situation.
not it. We'll
Mm.
get there. We'll definitely get there.
Amen.
All right, thank you so much, Omolola.
Thank
This
you.
conversation has revealed, a double-edged nature of social media
Social media, yes.
in sexual and reproductive health. It offers women fast and discreet access to information. It also exposes us all to misinformation that could
Yes.
endanger our well-being. Now, if only we are able to look a bit deeper, then we will find content creators, we'll find um, applications, online applications that we can use, apps
Yes.
that we can use to have good
Accurate
information. I
information.
like the fact that now we're seeing a good number of doctors, nurses,
Creating
yes, creating
content.
content around sexual health,
Yes.
reproductive health, all that has to do sometimes from the beginning of your pregnancy to the end of it, out there,
Mm-hmm.
the information is
Yes.
there. They tell you
Yes.
what to take, tell you what. Sometimes there's some that you hear and say, this dog, this not safe. I'm not even that we see more of that
Obvious.
from certified
Mm.
health personnel, so that at the end of the day we don't have somebody who is just doing probably apprentice in the health sector
Mm.
coming out to tell us things that he or she has not even finished learning,
Mm-hmm.
because you have a lot of that just because you're trying to gather
And even with
views.
certification, we also need to
Yes,
be
be
careful and be
careful.
sure that they are from correct sources. There are lots of people
Exactly.
who have certificates, but maybe they got it from some traditional maternity homes
That one
somewhere
day.
on their streets. Of course, they are
That
certified,
one day now.
but regulations.
Yes,
Yeah.
we really need that. All right, very big thank you, Molola Pedro, for breaking this down. Bringing the realities behind clicks before clinics. Okay, and the responsibility now lies with us, from health professionals to media practitioners, all of us. We need to make sure that women have reliable, safe spaces for reproductive health education. And remember, the story is on our website, www.wfm917.com. Please go ahead, read it, share it, and let's get this out there. Okay,
Mm.
let's do our bit to get it out there. All right, so thank you,
Thank
Omolola.
you so
Thank you for
much for
coming
having
through.
me, Rose. Thank you
Yes,
to Women Radio too.
yes, of course. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. Do want to stay tuned to Women Radio WFM 91.7. And enjoy your Friday. It's a public holiday, and of course, the weekend is upon us. Good afternoon.
To sponsor this program, call the number 0816 480 7613.
Ndị be anyị, ihe okwu eruola o, ego na-ezo dịka mmiri ozuzo. Better play, better chance. 200,000 naira nwere ike ịbanye n'aka gị taa. Geekwa ntị, ugboro atọ n'ụbọchị. Aha ndị mmeri ga-apụta live na redio. Naanị 500 naira ka ị nwere ike iji merie ruo 200,000 naira kwa ụbọchị. Sonye na Better Play ugbu a ma geekwa ntị na redio ma ọ kụọ elekere 10 nke ụtụtụ, elekere 2 nke ehihie na elekere 6 nke abalị kwa ụbọchị. Aha gị nwere ike bụrụ nke akpọrọ Better Play. Egbukwana oge, nye ngwa ngwa zụta tiketi gị ugbu a. Zụta tiketi gị na www.betterplay.ng maọbụ pịa *347*154#. Ịchọọ ime ka ohere gị bawanye, ị nwere ike ịzụta tiketi ruru 20. Mee ngwa ngwa soro anyị na Facebook @betterplay na Instagram @betterplayng maka ozi ọhụrụ. Oge iji emeri ego a eruola. Ị nwere ike ịbụ onye mmeri tata. Better Play bụ naanị maka ndị toruru afọ 18 ma ọ bụ karịa. Sonye egwuregwu